Could you live without a storage system in Minecraft? Me, for my part, not really. And I hope you're also excited, because today I'm going to make a tutorial on how to build my newest edition of a storage system. Yeah, I spent the best part of the last couple of hours improving my old CIMS 3.0. I improved it so it's passively, so we do have way less lag, which I'm really excited about. So this system is basically 2 blocks wide, but so that it works perfectly, you have to make it 3 blocks wide, and also so we can design it way better. So mostly we are going to use it as a 4 block wide storage system, because then it would look better actually, I think. So why should you build such an enormous storage system? Well, these storage systems are quite powerful. You can, I wouldn't suggest building that one in survival mode for all of the items which there are in the game, but for some, I will potentially do this when I'm doing a survival series, because then you can automatically fill like your shulker boxes, so you do not have to search every item in your storage system. Just press a button and then it happens. We do have a 2 block wide receiver station, which is quite exciting, because receiver stations are of these sort of techniques are usually very huge, but the storage system itself is almost as small as the receiver station itself. So now let's start with a tutorial. That's what you will need to build the storage system. It depends on how large your storage system is going to be and how many chests and hoppers you will need. So if you're building bigger, you're just going to need way more hoppers and way more chests. So let's start. So first off, you will have to build a 10 by 2 base plate. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times 2 or 3, it depends if you're just doing it like that or fill it entirely. So you're going to have to place a block here with a dropper on top of it, a repeater facing into it, and we do have to invert this like that. And into this torch block here, there's a repeater and full delay running into it. Then here we place a normal block and a torch in front and the side of it, and then we build 3 blocks like that. A repeater in the middle there, another torch here, a comparator on top of here, redstone dust like that, and a hopper facing into this comparator. And from here you're wanting to do it like that. And so now your base part of the system is already done. So next off, you're wanting to go at the back of the system, place 2 repeaters like that, running into a block, which has a torch on top of it, a block on top of it, a torch on top of it, a block on top of it, and a redstone dust on top of it. Next on the side, we do place a normal piston, then we place a redstone block on top of, in front of it. Here you can use some scaffolding blocks, go up by 3 blocks, remove the first 2 ones, place a normal piston, remove the back block again. Next off, we're wanting to go down from here by 2 blocks, building a platform of 6 blocks like that, place a redstone dust underneath the gap between the redstone block and the piston, then in front of it a comparator, redstone repeater in the other direction as well. And now we're just going to build up a little bridge over our water street or item stream and redstone on top of it. From here we're just going to sneak down and watch from the underside, so you can place a dropper attached to this redstone dust here, which then will actually spit out all of the items which are in the storage system until some items come back, which we check above there. which I'm just going to show in a moment. So going away from here, you're just having to place hoppers like 2 hoppers on top of here, and 3 on the other side. One of those facing into this dropper. So here you have to decide, either you're going to use the faster storage system, which uses 2 individual and 2 hopper speed to store every item, because if you potentially have a very fast farm which spits out the items very fast, then you should build it like that. If not, if you're just wanting to save resources, do it like that. But for the demonstration reasons, I will do it like that. So then you just build out a bit like that. Here you can decide how much you build out. I would suggest like that much. It depends on your design you're planning on doing on this in the storage system. And if you're building the smaller version, just remove these blocks. Just do not build them. Then we will need some chests. It can be trap chests, but I would suggest using normal chests because it's cheaper. Yeah, and here I would suggest 1 or 2 hoppers on top of it, so you have a bit of space to design this thing properly. Then some chests on top of it, and again, just remove one of the hoppers if you're building the smaller version of the storage system. And then I would suggest, for design reasons, I would suggest making it like that. It's not the most efficient way or most space efficient way to make it, but for the first 3 or 4 chests I would suggest doing it like that. Afterwards you can go at the back and you can just place in chests like that, and going up to whichever height you want to have. So when you're at the top of your storage system, or how high your storage system should get, then you just check that the hoppers are not on this side. I mean, they should be on the side where the dropper is, so we just go ahead and remove 1 layer or add 1 layer, and then just heading out like that a bit. And then we can just install our item filters like that. We're just going to use the bigger ones because we can then stack them next to each other. That's not the design I'm usually using, but for this purpose it's the better design. This looks like that. From this hopper out 3 blocks, go down 1, place blocks like that, another block there, remove the middle one and place a repeater inside of it. Then just place 3 redstone dust, comparator. And if you're building the smaller version, you can just build the smaller ones of these as well. So you're just going to save a lot of resources if you're doing the smaller version. So then just place 2 hoppers facing into these comparators, and that's it for the system basically. We do only have to install on the other side a item filter as well. Here you're going to be a bit further back than you would have potentially wanted, but this is possible to change if you're making it different at the bottom and just do not stack so many chests on top of each other like that. And you can also go a little bit around, so then you have a little wonky storage system, but it's a little bit more compact. Here we're going to build the smaller version of the item filter, which is only certified to be working with when one of those is next to each other, like that. A hopper facing into it again, if I can place it. Yeah, that's it. Then check which side you are, Okay, then you just go on this side where your storage system is heading out from your block, your item filter is. Place a torch there, and then a block down like that. Redstone dust there, block, redstone torch. Then we're just going to head a bit down with a torch tower like that. Yeah, this depends on how big your thing is again, so you potentially have to build down further and stuff. And then you're just wanting to connect this thing here to this piston, because this piston is the one which deactivates the storage system all over again. And that's it. You've successfully finished up your storage system. Yeah, well, almost. What's left is you have to build up some ice streets. You can use any block you want here, but you have to cover this one up completely, because otherwise this thing would just break. Yeah, yeah, because otherwise the items would just fly out, and you would lose a bunch of items, which I think is not the best sort of idea, but yeah. So at the top here, you're also wanting to place ice or blue ice, whatever. You can use area ice or even normal blocks. But if you're transitioning between more water modules, like above here, up on the top here, you do have to use blue ice, because otherwise the items would be stopping and it wouldn't be a perfect item circle. And now if you're wanting to improve your storage system a bit, then you can just connect up these two lines together and put a lever here, so you can just deactivate the storage system, so this model cannot be activated. This is something I discovered when I built the villa, because there were some modules which I don't have wanted to use, so I just deactivated them using by removing some redstone at the bottom. But here it's way easier to just flick the lever and then it's deactivated, which is quite a cool thing. And by the way, I would also suggest you using some light source like sea lanterns, sea picks, etc., and light it up a bit, because it can get quite laggy when you're using a bunch of those modules. Just do not make this. That's just the worst thing you can do. You could break it. So just put some light sources at some places, and we do also need a bit of glass here to cover this up. So now I'm going to talk a bit about how to set up the storage system correctly so it doesn't break, which is quite a cool thing, yeah. So I would suggest you taking an anvil and just renaming any item you have in mass, like dirt, whatever. Just rename it to something, whatever. And then just block off 4 of those slots of the hopper. And on the next one we're just talking about later, just blocking this off. Perfect. And now on this side you will have to choose whatever item you want to store. I'm very rich, so yeah, I do not have 1.16 installed at the moment. I haven't opened 1.16 at the moment, so I'm using diamond blocks. Otherwise I would have used netherite blocks. Yeah, I'm just putting in my diamond blocks here. And on the other side, you can take any item. You can also take, again, dirt or whatever. Just rename it to that you know that it's diamonds. You can also take the item you're just going to store there. These items will stay in the storage system forever. You're just going to name it whatever. We're just going to need then storage system. If you're using the item, then you can just type in storage system or whatever, and throw those blocks into the last slot here. No, not here. Jeez. That was quite a stupid move. No, again, here you do have to put in some diamonds. Not this one, but this one. These storage system blocks you do have to put in at the bottom here. Again, here you have to block off this, put in a stack of those, and they just get filled into this one here soonly, as soon as this hopper has been unlocked. And yeah, that's basically it. So you're wanting to build also a receiver station, which is quite a good idea actually, I think. So now you're just going to head and just take one side and build out a line of hoppers. And then we're just wanting to install 2 item filters like this. Place in a repeater like that, and also here some blocks. Here blocks, blocks. Comparators, a bunch of redstone dust here. Cover this up. Place more redstone dust, and then you're just going ahead and place again some hoppers facing into this comparator, and then just place some torches here. So you have our standard atom filters. Then just cover this up like that. Then go about this. Here will be ice, and then here you can place your hopper, a dropper I mean actually, and then you're just going to block off this again, and we take a bit of ice, place a bit of ice in there, go back to our normal redstone inventory, and then we have to move this, it's a bit too short. And then as soon as if this happens, you can just place a lock here. The comparator can read it either way. I would suggest you filling it up a bit, because otherwise it would just start spitting out items here in a whole lot of items. And then we just place some hoppers here to fill this one up. So this is basically it for this system. Now you do have to decide if you want to make it more secure. I would suggest you doing it like this, placing a torch underneath there. Go ahead and place a redstone repeater here, and then this will just run through the whole system. And if there is anything stuck, which would be detected every 5 minutes, then the system gets activated and it will be checked if there is any item needed. And so the system would start off, the storage system itself would start off and bring some items here. So now you're wanting to take these items here and whatever you want to get at the station, and also the block, and also the storage system key item, which you can get here. Just go ahead and take it, and then it will just block off this hopper here, and that's the one with the line going away. So we just put in the normal items in here, and the other one will be blocked off like that again, and the key item has to go in here. So that's it. Just fill water in here. Then we do have to block off the rest here, that the water doesn't flow out when you're just putting it over it. And that's it. That's now really it. So now a bit of information how to connect it up. This part here with the 2 item filters is used for storing items. You just have to connect this up to your farms. And the other side has to be connected up with this line here. This line, as I made it here, you can see the items flow just through it. Go to an item elevator, rush up, go around, and fly over these filters here. You can also send them afterwards into the normal filter system. That's no problem at all. And another important thing, you shouldn't throw anything into the item circle, because otherwise it would just break a bit, potentially. But I do not say that it's going to break, but it's not so ideal for you. And in terms of a 5-minute timer, to build a 5-minute timer, that's very easy. Just go here, take a block, place it like that, take a important wooden pressure plate, and surround everything here with blocks, so you cannot pick up the item by accident. So, like that. And then just place a dropper, and then a hopper in facing into it. Cover it up, not like that, but like this. And that's basically it. Then we just have to place a repeater like that, like this, which faces into a block, a redstone torch on top of it, a block on top of it, and a redstone dust, which then would spit out a item like this one here, and the 5-minute timer will be activated. And here it has to be set to no, because we do get a signal as long as an item is here. So this is it for today's episode, or for the tutorial today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you really enjoyed it, and if you want to see more of the tutorials. If you do have any questions and suggestions, please let me know down in the comment section. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to get notified about my newest videos and all of the new tutorials which are coming out. I'm potentially getting a member of a survival server, so you do not miss the start of this series. Until the next time, goodbye!